Hi everyone, I'm going to be walking you through a few of the tips and tricks for laying out your top and your two ends. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we do have a video with Mr. Lammers going through this, but here are some of my biggest takeaways and things you're going to need. First thing I want you guys to notice on the side, I've done all the measurements from the edge of my metal here, line 4, the long edge. So moving up to each horizontal line, the first one is 1/2 inch up, the second one is 2 inches up, the third is 5, 6 3/8, and finally 10 7/8, and we're actually going to be left with a little scrap at the top. So the reason I did that on the design sheet is because you guys can mark all of these at the same time. Making sure that your 0 mark is lined up on the end there. Always, always, always double check that. Do not start at the end of the ruler. Make sure you start at a 0 mark. I'm going to do all of those lines at once. So I'm going to move up 1/2. I'm going to move up 2. I'm going to go up 5. Do a double check. Have you moved your ruler? Are you still at the 0 mark? Next I need 6 3/8. This one's tricky. We haven't been doing a ton of eighths yet. So 6 3/8 is going to be starting at 6, and then you are going to skip the little lines which are 16ths, so you're going to jump to 1/8, 2/8, which is a quarter, and 3/8. You could also count this out with 16ths. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 16ths is 3/8. And last but not least, we need to come up 10 7/8 to our final. 10 and skipping the little ones, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/8. As you can see, the next eighths, it would be 8/8, and that's going to bring us to the next inch. So coming across right in the middle, I'm going to line up my ruler, and I'm going to go 1/2. And make sure you can still see this. Yep. 1/2, 2, 5, 6 3/8. 10 7/8. Take your time with these measurements. Over on this side, if you are going to measure like this, you need to leave a little gap, and I want you to make sure that the V's are touching the edge. So I'm going to come up 1/2. Make sure that V is touching the edge and it lines up with 1/2. 2, 5, 6 1, 2, 3/8, 10 7/8. You guys are going to connect these across. I'm going to just do a couple of them here on the video. I'm jumping all the way up to this one for a specific reason. That is a solid line, and we have rarely done solid lines so far. Moving up here, our first line is going to be dashed, line number 5. Line number 6 is going to be dashed. Line number 7 is going to be dashed. Line number 8 is solid because we're going to end up cutting this line on the press shear. The reason I've come here is because you notice the tabs are going to stop at this solid line right here, line number 8. So I wanted to show you what these tabs look like because they're a little different. This tab is 7/16 of an inch in. Our last ones on the bottom were 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do this down in the bottom left. Okay, putting 0 on the end, I'm going to count in 1, starting from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What you're going to notice is 7/16 is just under a 1/2 inch. And that's going to be important for our toolbox because we want the bottom to be just a little skinnier, the top to be just a little wider so that these tabs go over the top and outside. So I need everything to just be a little wider. 7/16 goes here. This tab goes all the way up to this solid line, line number 8. 7/16. This one is going to have to be dashed. So just a little skinnier than we had on our bottom piece. You're still going to have some nacho V's going on. I recognize these nacho V's. They look the same as the bottom. This one as well. Coming down here, this one's a little different than we had on the bottom. You still are going to come up 1 inch from the corner, but then you're going to come in 7/8 of an inch. Up 1, in 7/8. So I'm going to show you that down in this corner. Lining up 0 on the edge. I'm going to count by 8ths, skipping the little lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to put a V touching the edge. Moving my ruler on the side, starting from the 12-inch mark, I need to come up 1 inch and put a V touching the edge. And then I'm going to connect these, making sure I connect the tips of both of those V's with a nice solid line. So you're going to notice this isn't quite 45 degrees. It's actually a little bit in 7/8, up 1 inch. Besides that, you guys should be pretty familiar with everything else. You should know how to mark out these nacho V's, how to put your labels. Up at the top, this may look a little different, but you are pretty familiar with over 1, down 1, and making a V that you're going to cut out. Alrighty? You guys are going to be laying this out. We're also going to have Mr. Lammer's video that can help you. This is just the tips and tricks for the top and the ends. Alrighty. Good luck, everyone.